residents here, 4,058 voters that are here, and we have almost 326 acres of land. And as Don indicated, we looked at several different pieces of ground. We started right after the sewer sale, which was April of 2020. Got two pieces of ground over the smaller side. We considered this ground here as well. The 33 acres, the 33 or 36.47 acres over there at Smola. There's actually, as Don indicated, a cell tower that got on there, and we've been throwing around the definition of permanently preserved open space. What does that mean, and how's it applied? Back in 2010, actually Mr. Miller proposed that they put the cell tower up there, which it was bought in 2008, and then it was proposed for 2010 to actually put the tower up, which is a revenue producing item. And I would agree with that, but if we're going to use that as a precedent, we can use what we would like. If you look at the open space plan, everything that's in the open space plan, each 326 acres we have is listed as permanently preserved open space. The Board of Commissioners, this is our plan. Any plan, as you well know, an operation is flexible. And we can apply that. If we're saying we can't build anything anywhere, if you look at Heather Place, that's permanent reserved open space. But the catchword there is public on that. And Dave, you do remember when we went and looked at that and we looked over left to right what we're going to pick, and we picked that. What I just don't understand is when we started talking about this, I think we actually started discussing it in actuality in August. The comment was, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves, and also it was around the cart before the horse. I don't understand what ground, what is the solution to this? What ground should we put it on? Dave?
I'll say it to you again. I'd like to form a committee. I said it then, and I'll say it now.
Well, we had 3 years doing
Trace,
this.
you asked me a question, I'm answering. I brought it up many a times to form a committee between commissioners, a township manager, and residents. We sit down, we work together, and try to pick the best 3 spots, or how many we find, and make a decision. Did we do it? No.
When did you bring that up?
Oh, I brought it up many a time. Michelle, how many times have I brought this up? Come on.
Come on.
It's not recorded when we sit here and talk about it, your comment was, we're getting ahead of ourselves. It needs to be more behind. Where do you think we should put it now?
Trace, you asked me a question, I answered it.
No place to put it.
No, you're just trying to badger me now. You asked me a question, I
We have
gave
to
you.
solve the problem. If you think that's the worst place for it, we need to know where we're gonna put it.
Trace, I understand what you do. You keep asking questions and interrupting people, so you throw them off guard. You've done it to me you've done it to me a few times, and I'm not ever gonna go through that again. You know my problem with this. We didn't propose it to the public first. Had we done that, maybe it would have happened. Maybe they would have accepted it if we gave them a good reason, but we didn't. We slid it under the door, and there it is. Plus, you asked 3 of us to give up our votes in the beginning. Does Dave ever go to a staff meeting? Do I ever go to a staff meeting? Do we get reports from the staff meeting? No. It's in your hands, exactly where you want it.
So we did
That's the
inform
point.
everybody, and it's just not, again, the folks in this room, you wanna couch it that way. We sent a letter notifying everybody where we were gonna put that, once we got the proceeds in. You don't wanna talk about the solutions, you just want to sit and badger that piece, just like David said. Where do you think we should put it? We had
I'm
2.5
not
years.
badgering anybody. You asked me a question, I gave you
But
an
we still
answer.
don't have any solution.
Trace, you have
Way-
to stop
way
it
ahead.
now. I'm telling you,
Is
stop
there,
it.
what's your way ahead?
Stop it.
Trace, may I
Why
interject?
can't we vote on 3 spots?
Trace, may I interject here real quick? And I think an open discussion like this is healthy. You know, the one thing I didn't realize when I came as a commissioner is I can't speak to more than one commissioner at a time. And, you know, and it's like, even when you email people, you gotta keep it one at a time. But, you know, the last time, well, it's probably not correct, but we were all together, and I'm sorry, the date, Trace, I don't remember, July something, 18th, when the preliminary design came out. Alloy 5 just gave us that, you know, that just quick elevation of it, and I think it's actually been out there in the press as well. We all sat in that room, we all agreed on the general design, we all knew was gonna get modified. But we also agreed on the site at that time.
Who's we?
We are the Board of Commissioners, the 5 of us were in there, I think staff was in there, Greg, you may have been there. And we all agreed on the general layout, design, footprint, but it also showed us that right where the spot that you guys picked out some years ago. So, we all agreed on the site, and that just perplexes me, because all of a sudden, like a switch, you know, things went off here. But nevertheless, and Trace, may I just, I don't wanna take up too much airtime here, but I think this is important, because I heard some, I listened to the open space meeting, recording. And while the question was not asked correctly, I think it was a good question. I think it may clear up a lot of people's, concerns here. You know, somebody asked, and it was a leading question, they were trying to trap Greg, and Greg dodged it, but you know, what, you know, is the, we'll call it the Evans tract, Samola tract, is that permanently preserved? And I'm going to correct something I said a few meetings ago. I don't know if it actually even made the notes, but I believe, it was in my notes to say, so I assume I said it. I said that the Samola tract was not permanently preserved. And I think that answer was premature. I think the answer was probably wrong. And I do want to correct that, and I will recognize when I'm wrong. But I think before we can give a designation of a tract to be permanently preserved, we have to ask ourselves, what does that mean? What are we preserving it from? I'm gonna say also, what are we protecting it from? Why are we preserving it? What are we preserving it for? And I think the answers are very easy on that. First of all, we are preserving it from outside development. Okay, once we own the property, we control what's done with the ground. No developer can litigate us into undesirable projects, and trust me, we all know how that's going with the other litigation we're in. The second question is, who's it preserved for? You know, it's preserved for the benefit of Upper Pottsville Grove residences. The local governing body, again, decides the policy and benefits. I think there's a very good argument, and I think you just said, Chris, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, that all the township property that the township owns is permanently preserved. Like I said, that Heather Place one, I was surprised, there's a sign up there that says that's permanently preserved, and everybody in the world, you know, at the last meeting where the public made comment, there was 8 or 9 people that commented, it was like a script was going on. They said, hey, move this whole thing to Heather Place. Well, Heather Place is also, move it to Heather Place because the Evans tract is permanently preserved. Well, Heather Place is also permanently preserved. Heather Place has a municipality on it. You know, it's really not practical to put it there, and I'm hoping we have a slide with an overlay. We just tried there anyways. You know, and again, if we can conclude that Heather Place is permanently preserved and Samola tract is permanently preserved, they have the same permitted uses. So, and again, just a spoiler alert, both of them have a cell phone tower on it, which I think, you know, we've beaten to death already, so. Anyways, I'm
Okay, can I just,
absolutely.
okay. There is a difference. Heather Place is probably active open space, and then there's passive open space. And that should have been in the open space comprehensive plan. Active open space is where you can build a park such as Hollenbach, which is going to be a really good, hopefully revenue source for the township. And then passive open space is to be either left natural or to include trails, things like that. That's the difference.
What's a Samoa property in your opinion?
Passive.
Passive, but they built
It's
it,
listed on the open space
Sure.
map on the website, passive.
so nothing can be built there.
Trails.
What about
Maybe-
the cell, what about the cell phone tower?
I wasn't here when the cell phone
Neither was
tower.
I.
So you know, like for me, that's a non-issue. That's before my time, and maybe if I was sitting at the, on the board at that time, I would have said no, find another place for it. I'm not sure why they made the decision, we'd have to ask them.
Well, you can read the minutes, and I think it was a good decision, but we are only following precedents. When you go into something like this, case law and precedents are what you base on. And we are following precedents. I didn't think this was a big deal. When, you know, when they asked me to run, we were told that this project may come to fruition, and we couldn't do anything until we sold the sewer system, because we had no way to fund it, so why start spending money? But anyways, you know, I don't think we can have it both ways. We have, you know, we have this cell phone tower there, it shows we can build an open space. The process is not clear though. I still think we need to parcel some of this thing off. You